Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all having a great day and that you are all doing well. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. The World Trade Organization says blockchain technology, and specifically Ripple, could have a dramatic and disruptive impact on the world's financial system. A massive new report called "The Future of World Trade: How Digital Technologies Are Transforming Global Commerce" says that blockchain has the potential to profoundly transform the way we trade, who trades, and what is traded. The report singles out Ripple as a company that could radically change how financial institutions move money. They said, Ripple has ambitions to circumvent the correspondent banking model through its distributed ledger technology. It gives banks the ability to convert funds directly into different currencies in a matter of seconds, and at little to no cost, without relying on correspondent banks. The company has licenses with more than 100 banks and financial institutions, but it seems that only a limited number of large operations have taken place to date. Banks are still testing the system, end quote. The report also covers IOTA as a leading distributed ledger technology that's not based on blockchain. They said, blockchain is the most well-known distributed ledger technology, or DLT, but an increasing number of other models are being developed that, like blockchain, are distributed and use various cryptographic techniques, but that are moving away from the concept of blocks, or even from the concept of blocks and chains. One example of this is IOTA, a cryptocurrency designed for machine-to-machine communication, in which each transaction is linked to two previous transactions as part of the validation process to form a tangle rather than a chain. Today, the term blockchain is commonly used to refer more generally to distributed ledger technology and to the phenomenon surrounding it, end quote. The report also covers Bitcoin and Ethereum, noting that the platforms are pioneers in the emerging technology that's highly resilient to cyber attacks, and pointing out to scaling the challenges of scaling that remain in order for them to challenge the likes of Visa. They said, firstly, scalability of the main public blockchains remains limited due to the predetermined size of blocks and to the level of energy required to power the networks. The Bitcoin platform, for example, handles about 7 transactions per second on average, and the public blockchain Ethereum twice as many, while Visa can process 2,000 transactions per second with peaks of 56,000 transactions per second, end quote. So for those who do not know what the WTO is, the WTO is the World Trade Organization, is the only global international organization dealing with the rules of trade between nations. At its heart are the WTO agreements, negotiated and signed by the bulk of the world's trading nations and ratified in their parliaments. The goal is to ensure that trade flows as smoothly, predictably, and freely as possible. You may be noticing a trend of things that are happening over the last couple of weeks. A large number of companies and corporations and organizations, very important ones, that typically go over the radar for a lot of people in that they don't usually know the significance of how big these organizations or corporations or entities actually are. The World Trade Organization basically makes the rules when it comes down to trading between nations. They are incredibly powerful. And the fact, and I remember I told you guys many times, I always say, there's a reason why only certain coins are in the news. There's a reason why we constantly hear about Ripple and having to do with banks and who they're partnered with and who's talking about them and who says what about them and where this coin is going to go and how this is going to be used and how this is disrupting everything. I told you only certain coins are being spoken about for a reason. As a major organization or corporation or entity or something that is powerful, when you think about talking about or getting into cryptocurrencies or even mentioning them in a sentence, nonetheless an entire paragraph, you have been doing your research for quite a bit of time, and you have singled these out specifically because you believe that they are going to make it, because like I always say, they know things that we do not know, and that is nothing nefarious or backdoorsy or anything that may be seen as corrupt. It's that they have their eyes on certain coins, and this is why they're talking about them. It's not a mistake that they spoke about Ripple, and I thought it was quite interesting that they made sure to mention Bitcoin and Ethereum as the number 1 and number 2 coin, and also IOTA. IOTA has been going under the radar for quite a long time. A lot of people aren't paying attention to IOTA. I don't have the actual price of IOTA at this very moment, but the people who they have been partnering with are very powerful, regardless of if they are going to be just, even at the moment of me making this video, talking about just using their Tangle. The fact that they were mentioned by the World Trade Organization is incredibly important, and this is what a lot of people need to start paying attention to. It's so interesting because so many times when we do get news like this from like major world powers and they're talking about cryptocurrencies, a lot of people still tend to close their ears, if I can really say that. A lot of people think that I'm either spreading FUD, or that I'm shilling coins, or that I'm talking about this because so-and-so, and then why am I not talking about your other coins? We're going to have a point, and I specifically think, myself, that this is going to happen sometime in 2019, where the market is going to move away from what a lot of other people are holding. That's not to say that those projects will completely fall to the ground, but I think myself, after having been in cryptocurrencies for quite a while now and having had this channel for a year and a half, give or take, and I've read so much about cryptocurrencies, I think the winners have all but been chosen. You may have noticed, especially, I had to make a video about a couple of weeks ago where they were talking about, there was another, I can't remember who it was, but they specifically mentioned Ripple, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, and some other, I want to say it was EOS, if I'm not mistaken. I think the people, or the powers that be, or the richest people who are running these things have looked into what they want to use and what they're going to promote, and I think they may have already chosen what they plan on bringing further into the future as far as monetary-wise. On top of all of this, we have news that Ripple is actually going to be at Swift's next event. It says Ripple is going to be yet another event, but this time it's a flagship event of its competitors, Swift's Sibos event, one of the biggest global events in the world of fintech. Ripple and XRP enthusiasts and investors are anticipating the rather for bigger announcement. After gate crashing Swift's flagship event, Sibos, in 2016, this time, Ripple is all set to officially take the stage, as the website of the event has Ripple listed as one of its main exhibitors. After swell on the 1st and 2nd of October, Ripple is getting ready to make some headlines with yet another event. This time, Ripple will be sharing the stage, metaphorically, with its biggest competitor, Swift. Someone said Swift uninvited Ripple last year, 2017, and that's how they ended up doing their swell event at the same exact time and place. Swift seems to have learned from their mistake, thus Ripple has a vendor slot. One of the biggest global events in the world of fintech this year is covering how data, AI, and robotics are driving service innovation and business model renewal, new paradigms and technologies for information sharing to tackle financial crime, tackling the widening cybersecurity challenge in the digital economy, and adapting to evolving geopolitical and regulatory priorities. A lot of people have been speculating why. Well, first of all, for quite many fortnight, many people have been trying to figure out why Swift would have invited Ripple. It could be one of three things. I want to say one of two things. The rumors going around now are that not only is Swift afraid of Ripple, but they're looking for ways to kind of, keep your enemies close, to kind of figure out exactly what they're doing. The other idea is that Swift has not only invited them because of the swell event, but rumor has it that remember that word, has it, that Ripple has actually been working with Swift for quite some time. Swift was in the process of developing their own distributed ledger technology. It did not work out, and now they are trying to reel the Ripple team back in, simply because they have not figured out a way to be able to create their own blockchain in time. During that same amount of time, the Ripple team has been able to garner a number of other projects and banks and institutions who are going to be using their technology. People were constantly asking, and have been asking for quite some time, why wouldn't banks, or why wouldn't Swift specifically make their own blockchain and therefore use it, as opposed to using RippleNet or Ripple or using XRP? It's because this technology is not made overnight. It takes a lot of work to actually build a blockchain, believe it or not. This is one of the very significant things that is going to be taking place within the next couple of days. A lot of people are very excited about it. I myself, I'm not expecting, I try to keep my expectations low as a just in case. A lot of people tend to get very hyped when things like this are happening. The significance comes from not that Ripple will be taking the stage and will be announcing things potentially, but that they are going to an event for the organization or company, whatever you want to call Swift, that they are pretty much trying to usurp. And I think at some point they're going to. I would not be surprised if over the next year, let's say 18 months, if we have some type of a news that there have been discussions, not even a partnership, but some type of discussions between Ripple and Swift, that Swift was thinking or interested in using their technology. A lot of banks around the world have grown very tired of using Swift, and you may have noticed at Ripple's Swell event, there were a number of banks and banking institutions and financial institutions, whatever you want to call them, who were there, and they were all talking negatively about Swift, how long it takes, why it's taken so long, why are we still using technology from the 70s when we have something that can transact in a number of seconds as opposed to this, and so and so and so. And also because of the issues that Swift has, sometimes the Swift network ends up not only crashing, but if you're trying to send money to another portion of the world, you end up needing to have that other currency's currency in your coffers, in your own thing, pre-funded accounts, and XRP pretty much completely gets rid of all of that. So I'm interested to see exactly what's going to end up happening with Ripple at the Swift event. Top of all of that as well, the last couple of days, Michael Didiuk, a former member of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, or the SEC, has said that the Ripple token, known as XRP, is a currency and not a security. In a discussion at the Ripple-organized Swell conference, Didiuk refers to the famous Howey test for his argument, reasoning that XRP's token fails to meet the 4 criteria that would classify it as a security. According to him, the existence of Ripple is not dependent on the XRP token, which subsequently eliminates the need for a third-party promoter. He said, "I don't think XRP is a security. I think XRP is a currency. The reason why is the Howey test. It's a 4-factor test, investment of money in a common enterprise with the expectation of profits based on the efforts of others. The Howey test is used to determine if a transaction represents an investment contract. A person invests his money in a common enterprise and is led to expect profits solely from the efforts of the promoter or a third party. An asset is not considered a security if it fails any of the 4 criteria. Cryptocurrencies have become the subject of Howey tests in recent months, but the market resists easy categorization. What's interesting here is not that, well, it's actually a couple of things. It's not only that he didn't label it a security, and you need to pay attention to all of this simply because a lot of people within the even former members of the Securities and Exchange Commission, the people who have reign over securities in the country, have announced that not only is XRP not a security, but it's a currency. And it's different because typically people have said that cryptocurrencies are either securities or they are commodities. And if you are a security, you pretty much are ruled over by the SEC. And you also have the CFTC on the other side who rules on the other portion of it. But declaring that XRP is a security, is a currency, is a complete game changer because that means that it is then legal tender. This also happened a couple of months ago that we had information that the U.S. Treasury Bureau, FinCEN, had many moons ago signed an agreement with the Ripple team and had actually classified them as a currency and not as a security. And I thought this was significant because this happened during the Swell event. I think, once again, that this is all leading up to something. I don't think this news is randomized. I think they are trying to... I don't know if they're trying to get people to really pay attention. I think the people who are meant to pay attention, like I've said before, I think that crypto is no longer for normal people. I'll say it that way. I think rich people have made sure to corner cryptocurrencies themselves in a certain way, and I think that everything that is happening now is them simply talking to each other and telling each other the things that are happening and who is going to be using who and what could potentially be happening in the future. But when you make announcements like this, that it is an actual currency and not a commodity, that could have incredibly large implications for the future of not only the cryptocurrency space, because everyone will then want to be labeled as a currency and not even as a security or a commodity. But being a currency means, and this is why I think it may have taken so long for the SEC to kind of give proper clarification, because if another organization has stated that XRP is a currency, I wonder what implications that then has for XRP as an actual payment method within the United States. Like, does that also then make it as legal as the US dollar? I guess that part is just my own speculation, but a lot is happening in the cryptocurrency space right now. Thought I'd make a little video about the stuff that's been happening with Ripple/XRP over the last couple of days. Make sure to always pay attention. Like I always say, I cannot ever tell you where to put your money, but please make sure to do your own research and understand what is happening right beneath our noses. It's not even like we don't have the chance to know or understand what's happening. There are only certain coins that are being spoken about, and I think that these coins, me, myself, have the potential to be absolute juggernauts in the next couple of years, simply because I think that the wealthiest on this planet have already spoken. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, and or evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I hope it's absolutely incredible. Thank you once again for watching and or listening. Thank you once again for all your support. I do appreciate it more than you could possibly begin to imagine. Thank you once again, and I'll talk to you all soon. See you.